the Cavaliers.
A veteran officiating crew, Brian Abbott, Jason Parks, Hans Wittelsberger. They'll be in the zebra stripes as Maryland meets Virginia. All-time meeting number 94 between these two schools. Wierman wins the draw. Right to the goal comes Kahn. Rolling back. Bouncer, he scores! Keegan Kahn. 8 seconds into the contest.
What a start for the Maryland Terrapins. And if there's one Terp who's going to have a bug up his nose for this game, it's Luke Wierman, who last year had that final shot against Virginia, and it was saved to prevent overtime. Instead of going down the heart of the Virginia defense, however, he gets it over to Keegan Kahn. I love how Kahn stops on a dime, comes back to his right, gets space, and slips it past Nunes.
6 on the season now for Kahn, who's been playing through a bit of an injury. He had a couple of assists against Albany. The Terps thrashed the Great Danes indoors last weekend. Offers last weekend by a 24-6 margin. Corus had an assist in that one. Virginia was on the road impressively, knocking off North Carolina. Both of these teams at 6-0.
And not only is that a huge, and he does a great job of just slipping in between that Maryland defense and sliding it home.
Wierman wins another draw. Wierman going right to the cage. Trail check there neatly by Connor. Bauer comes up with the ground ball for Virginia.
Wing play is so critical, especially with the loose ball, with the big boy ground ball. It's fitting that he gets the goal and pays off for that big boy ground ball.
Wierman tangling this time with Gable Braun. Braun is the understudy for P.D. LaSala at the faceoff X for Virginia. Ground ball to the sideline. Geppert watches it go out of bounds. The officials will give Virginia possession into the cross.
Ran into a brick wall, and that allowed Schellenberger to get around goal line extended, uncontested.
Connor has goals in 11 straight games. He leads the nation in assists. 3-2 for the Terrapins. Kahn's second tally is the lead marker for the Terps as we drift below 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Another good ground ball battle. Virginia, for the last few seasons, has been the #1 team in the nation, ground balls per game.
The running joke is Doyle Smith created that ground ball monster. It was continued by Vince Brad Ice, and now Patrick Bowling. Beautiful bounce shot, another lost art in the game of lacrosse.
Wierman wins the draw. Wierman going to Murphy. Murphy hesitates, fidgets and fires. He scores. Lightning in a bottle for Maryland. Owen Murphy.
If I'm Virginia, I'm going to start locking on the attackman when Wierman wins it out the front door and let him go downtown. Wierman again just slips it over to Owen Murphy. Watch it right off of the draw. Gets it to Murphy. Gets a little chin music right there, no call, and then hammers it past Matt Nunes. Owen Murphy, great.
Here's for Owen Murphy, who's the 3rd leading goal scorer. LaSala, violation. Give the ball points at Virginia. 5-3 Maryland. One last draw in this quarter. Saladay off the wing, heaves it towards the cage, and we are done with it during session 2 of the 2022 Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. Live coverage continues tonight, 5:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Michigan and Ohio State, so good. They were the front runners during the regular season. Mark, we talked about face-off effectiveness in this game today being pivotal. Luke Wierman has had a strong showing to this point.
And we thought he would. You know, he's a guy who has had to live with missing that final shot last year in the national championship game. He has been terrific in 2022. If there was a vote at this stage of the season for first-team All-American face-off, Luke Wierman is getting a lot of votes. And what I'm impressed most with here today is him winning it out the front door and his decision-making. Virginia is not, they're almost guarding him when he's coming down. They're leaving his attackman open, and Wierman is making use of it and dishing the rock beautifully.
Top of the screen, you see Wierman's effectiveness today. In the national championship game a season ago, mostly against LaSala, he won 14 of 30, so a little bit under 50% there. P.D. LaSala on that day, winning the title and taking 21 of 37 for the Cavs.
LaSalle, Gable Braun is an incredibly capable backup, and Luke Wierman, Matt Kinnear talked about it this week on the D-Fly Dixie podcast on Inside Lacrosse. Who can get goals off of the face-off? He thought that was going to be a...
The 2021 Terps set school records just about everywhere offensively, and this group this season is on an even better pace. Officials awarding the ball to Virginia. LaSalle doesn't mind going to goal offensively.
He can, for Virginia, have all of their goals. Who else is going to step up for the Cavaliers and make some things happen?
An amazing shooter is Schellenberger. He has 12 goals in his last...
Just possess incredible fundamentals.
13 Terps scored last week against... Virginia. These with 6 are game-winning goals. He has tallies in all 7 games this season. Maryland's lead is back to 2. Wierman against Braun. Gable Braun gets possession but lost it there, wildly trying to save it on the sideline. Wierman going the other way. No numbers for Maryland. They'll slow into a 6-on-6. Wisnowski's points in all 64 games of his lacrosse career. We go back to the face-off X. This ball is goosed ahead and taken by Sostad off the turf for Virginia. Zinn, the former Johns Hopkins. Lars Tiffany, Virginia's coach, said you have to be ready for 4 or 5 different pushes, different probes. You use the word probes. Finally, it would be Donville with his 2nd of the day.
Again, and there's Lars Tiffany just settling his troops down. He's emotional, but he is a 2-time defending national champion, and he knows that his Cavaliers possess the firepower and the talent to come back from any deficit. Can they win a possession?
Gable Braun just did it for Saladay. The short stick D-mid captain for Virginia. His screen 15 times. Dixon on the board this season. Multiple goal games in 6 of 7 for the Cavs. The Cavaliers of Virginia. Zander has 2 today. He had 4 against Air Force earlier in the season. Cavaliers looking for the ground ball. Ditto for the Terps. It comes up for Geppert. Molliver drifting into this 6-on-6 offensive. Rung up against the freshman netminder Nunes. Digging in on the draw. Gable Braun pops it out against Wierman. Possession belongs to Maryland.
Procedure against Virginia. They stepped out of the box too soon, but then a sloppy outlet creates a loose ball. Virginia, can they come up with it?
Wisnowskis being attacked, and it is Kastner who came up with it but then lost it himself.
Interference called against Maryland. Ball's on the ground. Big checks. I guess they're going to say was...
As LaSalle gets set to face off against Wierman. 2 teams that squared off in the national title game. Virginia in the blue today here in D.C., winning that one in thrilling fashion, 17-16. They get the first possession of quarter 3.
Cutting down to that far post, slips it past McNaney.
Face-off win, LaSalle streaking right to the goal. Petey bounces this one. McNaney made the stop. LaSalle was determined to get to the net right there. Fans with a 4-goal performance against High Point in the season opener. He has the hat trick today. 13-7 for the Terps. Lacrosse on Big Ten Network. Terps. Maryland has 12 or more in 30 of its last 31 games. Wierman, who is having himself a banner day at the Faceoff X, wins another one. What's the nickname Maryland uses for its face-off guys? Don't they call them the hog pen?
Yes. It's something that, to you and I would not be flattering, but to those guys, it's a badge of honor.
Right now,
Maryland team showing off that depth of a solid 6-7 guys capable of finding the back of the net.
Kahn, who was the leading scorer for Villanova last season, in his first game as a Terp, he had 4 goals against High Point. He has 3 today. Maryland has its largest lead
I didn't want to say.
The goal-scoring leader for the Cavaliers gets himself on the board, makes it 15-8. Violation against Virginia. Ball for Wierman and the Terps. 6 to have you along for the ride with Lacrosse on Big Ten Network. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon with you from Audi Field in Washington, D.C. Temperatures in the 70s now. The offense shining for Maryland. The face-off work all afternoon has been extraordinary, and that's the reason why Maryland has the lead by 6, although Virginia has the last 2 goals. And
Point outing thus far.
a handful of points for Kahn. He had a goal and 4 assists against Loyola earlier in the season for the Terps. Maryland is 6-0. Virginia is 6-0. They are the top 2 teams in the land. Joe Beninati.
Development in the shooting game. And Cormier right there showed a perfect shot to the far post.
We waited a while for Cormier to get on the score sheet. He has 2 of the last 3 goals. Wierman comes up with the draw for Maryland. Kahn off the hitch. Good defensive recovery there. Close out from Matsui.
Has trimmed the Maryland lead to 4.
4-0 run for Virginia in the last 9 minutes. McNaney comes up. Pitched that one right on the button.
Easily one-on-one with your goaltender, but a huge goal for Puglisi.
Puglisi with goals in 4 of his last 5. Saladay comes up with a ground ball for Virginia. It's 16-11 Terps with 11 minutes to go in regulation.
Gigantic goal.
Michigan in 2019, scored against Penn in 2020, and now against Virginia in 2022 as the Terps get the ball back. Puglisi takes the feed from Makar, who's had himself a terrific day offensively and defensively. Puglisi zipped it wide. 17-11, 77.
Wow.
Face-off possession going to Virginia. Thursday, so they've had a little extra time to get ready for this matchup with Maryland. Off the draw, ball pops high in the air, and Higgins comes up with a scoop for Maryland and White.
I mean, this game, Joe, it has a championship weekend feel. We got a great...
Matty Benier's Michigan led the conference in scoring. That's as good of a pick'em as you can find.
Actually was in Ann Arbor in October. I got to watch the Michigan hockey team play in person. They are impressive.
Ball down, coming up on the scoop here as we get back to
Matt Nunes of Virginia.
Mark, that's 7 different guys by my count. 7 different multi-goal guys today for Maryland.
That's what we talked about at the beginning of the show, was Virginia has the big 2, something that most teams in the country, if not any team in the country, has. But Maryland...
Bunches. Maryland with 3 more on the board in less than 2 minutes. They come up with a draw again, and Bubba Fairman relentless for this Maryland. Easy one a week from today. They host Notre Dame. They've won 21 of their last 25, have the Cavaliers at Klockner.
And the Irish, a big win today over Michigan.
Sure going to goal. Roselle made the save. Cavaliers sloppy on the clear there, the behind the back. Last year in the national championship game, Virginia won that thriller 17-16. Maryland exerting some force in the rematch today.
And again, you're Virginia. You know, you got an incredible coaching staff. You've got a great team. Today was